let's just get into it. What's up? I'm Trent Windsor and we're here in search for the perfect shuffle. It's time for a fan request video where I take the requests of you, the fans, the viewers. This week, the album that I'll be reviewing is called Doppelganger by The Fall of Troy. Big shout out to Jack Frost for requesting I review this album. I know it's a busy time of year for you, Jack Frost, so this one goes out to you. The Fall of Troy is a metal trio from Washington. When this band formed as high schoolers, their initial demos were all very instrumental, and they put a lot of emphasis on their instrumental performance, but as they progressed, they added vocals, both sung and screamed, and they saw their breakthrough success with this album, Doppelganger. How successful are we talking here? Let's just say they have a song on Guitar Hero 3. You've made it. They made it. Do they deserve such a hallowed honor? Let's find out as I review this album, song by song. Song number 1 is called I Just Got The Symphony Going.
Gets the people going.
Here we're introduced to the wild solo guitar action that we're going to be getting throughout the album. I've seen this album described as math metal, and it definitely has some crossover with math rock, where it has a lot of complicated noodling on the guitar. And this is kind of what drives the manic and crazy energy of this whole album. It's all backed up with some really driving drums and bass, which are very prominent. All of the parts really work together equally. There's nothing that really falls into the background. In this song, there's a beat switch with the vocal entrance, but when that happens, all of the parts seem to kind of blend together. There's not enough definition, and it almost feels like static. It's just a little bit too much craziness, too many things going on at once. And then all that is topped up with some screamed vocals that are unintelligible and kind of high-pitched, which can get annoying at times. It's already madness, and then you've got tempo changes and time signature changes, and it all just doesn't feel very coherent. A big problem I had is I just didn't know where to bang my head on this one, so I would have to say this one is 75% skippable. The second song is called Act 1, Scene 1, and this is a much more coherent version of all of these themes. You still have some wild guitar solo, guitar noodling going on. There's driving and varied drums. The screamed vocals are used more wisely and more as accents, which is nice. And the beat throughout the song is consistent. There is one weird beat switch where it just goes
slow for a quick second
and then speeds back up to the regular tempo. But that didn't necessarily ruin the song for me. It was more of a nice accent. This is a song that really shows off the instrumental history of the band. You can tell that they really are invested in their instrumental performances. I would say this song is 35% skippable. Song number 3 is called FCP REMIX. This is the one that was on Guitar Hero. This is the one that has a music video and got some airplay on MTV, VH1, those kind of places. It's a thrashing song. You start out with these cool echoed guitars, but from the very get-go, it's just boom, 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 boom. You are plowing ahead full force. It's definitely the most commercially viable. There is a melody that you can really hold on to, and you can understand the lyrics. This song has more impressive instrumentals, although sometimes they get just a little bit muddled, but for the most part, it's pretty clean. I would say this song is 30% skippable. Song number 4 is You Got a Death Wish, Johnny Truant. I'm not sure we ever get the answer to that question. This song is a short burst of wild energy. What's that kid from the Wild Thornberries? He's always just blah, 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 blah. This is a more coherent version of that. The guitar and the drum parts work together at the end really well and go really hard and really drive home that energy and the power of the song. The only thing about it is it just doesn't feel like a full song. It's a nice part of a song, it's a good idea, but it's not like the whole thing. So for that reason, I would have to say this one is 40% skippable. Song number 5 is called Mouths Like Sidewinder Missiles. One of the reasons this album is called Doppelganger is because a few of the tracks were re-recorded from their first self-titled album. Mouths Like Sidewinder Missiles is one of the tracks that was re-recorded, and having listened to both recordings, this track is much cleaner the second time around. Despite the better production and the cleaner performance, it still does get kind of messy during the chorus. Unfortunately, this one really does lean hard on the instrumental performance. The vocal performance is definitely not stellar. There's not really a melody that's very catchy or that you can hold on to, and the screaming can get kind of grinding at times. So I'd have to say this one is 60% skippable. Song number 6 is called The Whole E-Tape. At this point, this song is just more of what we've already heard: crazy guitars, driving drums, as well as driving bass. It's not quite as exciting as some of the other songs we've heard so far, but it's not as muddled or messy as some of the songs that we've heard as well. So I would say this one is 45% skippable. Song number 7 is called Laces Out, Dan. This song is really blistering throughout. Once again, more of that strong energy and fast tempo, but the vocals at the end get really whiny. I think they were going for manic and crazy, but they just kind of get to be whiny and annoying, kind of like little brother, little sister whiny. So I have to say this one is 60% skippable. Song number 8 is called We Better Learn to Hotwire a Uterus. Once again, on this one, the screaming is unintelligible and it doesn't necessarily add a lot to the song. I find myself wishing I could just hear them sing those lyrics. There is one quote that is screamed, and if you didn't read the lyrics, it would just be nonsense. But in the very first line, he calls someone a saliva-swapping tonsil hockey trollop. If you told me that was written by Shakespeare, I wouldn't be surprised. That's just poetry. Beautiful. Unfortunately, it's screamed, so you don't understand that he even said that at all. So I would say this one is 70% skippable. Song number 9 is called Wacko Jacko Steals the Elephant Man's Bones. Here we've got another screamed chorus, which means that there's just no melody to hold on to. This one has a lot of really complex rhythms. Unfortunately, sometimes that leads the instrumentals to feel like they're dragging just a little bit. They're just a little bit slow.
Dragging just a hair.
That would not make J.K. Simmons happy. I would say this one is 60% skippable. Song number 10 is called Tom Waits, and it's more of the same, more of what we've heard before, but the vocals get really, really weird and whiny. I'm talking like that kid from Vine when he is pouring the mouthwash over his head, like that kind of screaming. So I would say 80% skippable. Song number 11 is called Macaulay Culkin. This is an 8-minute long epic. Very long song, longest of the whole album. All the parts seem to transition into each other pretty well. All of the instrumentals seem to work together pretty strongly on this one. However, there are a couple parts that just seem kind of aimless. You got some parts that just kind of have robot sounds thrown in there, a little bleep blorp, bleep glorp.
Meet morp Zeke.
You've got another part where there's some jazzy drums in there and you're not sure where this is all going. And then it ends really confusingly. It kind of felt like it just cut off in the middle of it. It's too bad because I kind of liked the idea of this song and I liked the ambition, but those few parts that really felt aimless or confusing just threw it off for me. So I would have to say this one is 55% skippable. Adding everything up, mathematically speaking, this album as a whole is 55% skippable. I want to start out by saying I like this album. I think that some of the instrumental performances are really exciting. I find a lot of it very interesting, and it definitely sticks out from the vast amounts of metal that there are out there. Their ambition may have been a little bit bigger than their skill level. I would say there's some gems, there's some good ones, but overall it's kind of homogeneous and they slip up in some key places. If you would like to hear me talk about a specific album, please leave a comment below, let me know. I want to appease the masses. I also will be linking the playlist for my best music of the year. Leave a comment, let me know what you think about The Fall of Troy, what you think about Doppelganger as an album. I'd love to hear your opinions. I'm Trent Windsor, and this is The Perfect Shuffle.